Welcome to the course of Geographical Peculiarities of Kuttanad and Role of Engineering in its Environmental Issues. As we all know, Kuttanad is a place which is unique in the entire world. There are very few places like this in the whole world, and the United Nations has recognized Kuttanad as one of the globally important agricultural heritage system. In the entire country of India, we have just 3 places recognized like that, and we are proud to be to say that Kuttanad is one among them. So, some of the unique peculiarities with regard to the geography, geology, soils, water of Kuttanad, and the environmental issues which are arising because of these parameters, and some of the proposed solutions are going to be the content of this particular course. So, we just go ahead into the contents of the course as you see in the screen. The course is envisaged as 9 segments, and in the first segment we are going to discuss about the introduction of the course and geographic peculiarities of the place called Kuttanad. In the beginning, I would say that the entire content of the course has been developed partly from literature and partly from the works which are going on in the Cochin University College of Engineering Kuttanad and myself. So, we have to look at in the second part of the discussion, in the second segment, we will discuss about the flood which is happening in the place, which happened in the past and which is happening in the present, and of course, the 2018 flood is going to be discussed in detail. Then some of the habitual issues which are happening because of this flood prone issues. Then there are certainly some flood mitigation systems available in the place from the say from 50 years or more than that before, but we have to see through whether those mitigation measures are working properly, whether we need say adaptation measures or other mitigation measures. So, that is going to be the kind of the third segment. Then in the fourth segment we are going to discuss about some of the case studies. So, based on some of the issues which were recognized in Kuttanad as well as the entire district of Alappuzha, the Alappuzha Canal Rejuvenation Project has been discussed as well as that is implemented. So, that is going to be discussed as the next segment, and then the other case studies including the Pavum Canal experiment which is in Nedumudi, the Kidakketumpuram pilot project which is also in Chambakulam, part of the Nirumudi Panchayat, will be discussed in different scenarios for sure. And then we will go into the next segment in which we discuss about the lessons learned from recent floods and the structural failures. Well, some of the structural failures are not due to flood alone, so we will discuss about that in detail. And from the causes of structural damages due to flood and certain adaptable indigenous construction techniques for resilient structures, that is going to be the content of that particular segment. And then we step into the next segment in which the sustainable and adaptable construction, certain case studies will be discussed. So, 2-3 house construction, 3-4 house projects were done. So, based on that certain parameters were evolved. So, we will discuss about that in that particular segment. And then we will step into the polder wall construction. So, one of the very important flood mitigation measure or flood adaptation measure, I would say, that is constructing polder walls, constructing the strengthening the polder walls around the say the Padashekharams or the polders. That is going to be discussed, and the conventional way is going to be replaced by the environmentally friendly way. That is going to be the matter of discussion in that particular segment. And then we discuss about some of the major environmental issues, solutions which are through engineering or otherwise, and that is going to be the conclusion of this particular course. Now, we step into the first segment of this particular course. Introduction and geographical peculiarities of the place called Kuttanad. Well, I am not going to go to the history of Kuttanad, but I will touch upon that only very briefly, because you can read the history of Kuttanad elsewhere in detail. Rather, what is important with regard to the environmental peculiarities and the environmental problems, and finally we are going to aim at the solutions of them. Aiming at that only, I am going to touch upon the history of Kuttanad. So, whenever we hear about the place, as we discussed, it is a unique place. It is recognized by the Food and Agricultural Organization of the UN, United Nations, in 2013 as one of the globally important agricultural heritage systems. And there are very few systems like that in the entire world. Less than 80 systems are recognized like that in the entire world, and our country has only 3 of them, just 3 of them. One is in Kuttanad, other one is in Koraput, Odisha, another one is in Kashmir, and the 4th one is yet under process, that is in Tamil Nadu. So, as you can see in the picture, the kind of picturesque scenario, kind of sceneries are coming to our mind when we hear about Kuttanad. The kind of water bodies which, as you can see over there, the thin bund which is separating water bodies and paddy fields. You can see on the other side there is a paddy field, and coconut trees, and kind of say climatic atmosphere you can see over there. So, this is something which is coming to your mind suddenly, and then if you further say explore the place, we can see that the place is relying upon agricultural produce, especially paddy cultivation, because of the fertile soil owing to the flow of say 4 or 5 major rivers through the region. The paddy cultivation was possible. Then tourism, of course, tourism, as you can see in the next picture, tourism is something which is attracting several of the people in the other parts of the country to the place. As you can see there, there is a canal or a say kind of a water body through which a houseboat is running. You can see that, and on both sides you can see paddy fields. So, that is a very beautiful picture of Kuttanad. So, tourism is another thing which is coming to our mind when you hear about Kuttanad. And another thing, very important thing, is festivals. It is a place of festivals, arts. So, snake boat races are very common in that place. So, this is something which comes to the mind of an ordinary person when we hear about Kuttanad. And now we have to see through the agroclimatic regions of Kuttanad and the region which is divided into more than 60 number of panchayats for the administrative purposes. So, the 2 pictures which you see here are those. The first picture gives you a glimpse about the 6 agroclimatic regions in Kuttanad. You can see the Kayal lands, you can see the distinction as Kara, say Kari lands. You can see the other kinds of the Vaikam Kari is also there. You can see Upper Kuttanad, you can see Lower Kuttanad. So, you can read through all those kind of 6 number of agroclimatic regions in Kuttanad. You say the extent of Kuttanad, the area of Kuttanad is almost like less than 1000 square kilometers right now. That is the scenario right now. But let us see what was a brief history of the place, whether the system was existing like that in the past or whether there is a change. That is what is going to be discussed from the next slide onwards. You can see, if you read through the literature, you can see that thousands of years ago the sea extended till the western Ghats, and almost 600 plus number of years ago a river mouth or estuary was formed near Kochi, and that is how Tripunitura, Vaikam, Perimatura, they became like ports. So, from the word meaning itself we can see that Tripunitura is a Tura, Tura means port. Several kinds of ports were came into existence because of the estuary which is formed near Kochi. And Kuttanad was one of the major 6 regions in the Sangha period, the earlier Sangha period, which is say which was existing in thousands of years ago. You can see a picture below in which the major Sangha regions are also shown there. One of the major regions in the Sangha period is Kuttanad, as you can see at the center. You can see Wayanad along with that, you can see other regions also along with that. So, Kuttanad was actually extending from say Ponnani to Kollam, it was a large region. It was not a small region in the beginning, it was a very large region having a very wide kind of area. It extended from the Western Ghats till to the Arabian Sea along the east-west direction, along the north-west, along the north-south direction. It is, as I told you, it is from the say Ponani towards Kollam. So that was the extent of Kuttanad at that time. And you can read through literature and see that you can read that say during the time of Ptolemy there was writings with regard to Kuttanad. During the time of other say visitors over here, you can read regarding Kuttanad in their writings. So if you concentrate upon the geographical features of Kuttanad, the reign of the first Chera dynasty that ended by the 4th century AD. So this is a little bit of history which may be required, how this to know how the place has been evolved. But there is absolutely no evidence of history from 4th to 8th centuries AD. So that period is known as Long Night. And before that, the sea extended up to there was, as I told you, this Perumadura was a port. Niranam also was a port near Changanasheri. It was also like a port. So sea extended up to that region. But between 4th to 8th century AD, there was no history available. It is called Long Night in the history. And after that, once we cross that particular say juncture or that particular era, you can see that the area of the land in Kerala was doubled during this period. Owing to it may be due to natural calamities, possibly. You can call them as say natural phenomena. You can call it as natural phenomena only, not hazards. In fact, some natural phenomena like earthquakes, floods, maybe like meteor hits or volcanic eruption, etc. Because of that, the land has been doubled. And we hear about the myth in which the Rishi Parashurama, he has evolved the place called Kerala. That is the which is available as a myth. And something which is close to that is the area of the land has been doubled between the 4th and the 8th centuries AD. So in due course of time, this place Kuttanad also has been evolved. So the Vembanad Coal Wetland System, that is a complex aquatic system of 96 kilometer long coastal backwaters, lagoons, marshy lands, mangroves and reclaimed lands with intricate network of natural and man-made channels extending from Kuttanad in the south to the lands of Thrissur district. Total area of the wetland system is close to 1521.5 kilometer square. So the place which is evolved from the sea, possibly the sea has given its way, and 3 major towns were evolved in due course of time, like one is Cherthala, Cochin is one on the north, Cherthala is in between, and Alappuzha is the other one on the south. Between these 3 towns and the Western Ghats, the midland of Kerala, we have Kuttanad. And because of the shape of that, the shape is like a kutta. Maybe because of that, the place may be called as Kuttanad. So we are not sure whether Kuttanad is called as Kuttan's land. Kuttan is Buddha. There are plenty of Buddhist temples over the say in Kuttanad as well as in other parts of the state. So we cannot say exactly whether it is called as Kuttan's land or whether it is because of the burned forest, Chuttanad. That is also another way people call it. Further, if you explore the place Kuttanad right now, it is envisaged as the rice bowl of Kerala, and extent is almost 900, less than 1000 kilometer square. During the time of famine in the 18th and 19th centuries, the then kings of Travancore and other countries in the place, they permitted the farmers to reclaim the Vembanad lake and start paddy cultivation over there. So, land reclamation which is very famous to all of us, it happened during the 18th and 19th centuries, and it continued in the 20th century also up to let us say 1973. Almost 40% of the area of Vembanad Lake has been covered or has been converted into paddy fields, low lying paddy fields only. That is how Kuttanad was famous for its paddy cultivation below sea level. So, 2 to 3 meters below sea level, that the level of that is the level of the paddy fields only. The floodplain of 4 major rivers, Pampa, Manimala, Achankovil and Meenachil, and there is one more river, the Muvatupuzha river, which is joining Kuttanad and in the northern part of it. In the current geography, we can see that the Muvatupuzha river joins on the northern side of the Thanimukam barrage. It is distributed in 3 districts, Alappuzha, Pathanamthitta and Kottayam right now. That is the administrative jurisdiction. Alappuzha, the extent is like 57%, Pathanamthitta it is 13% and Kottayam it is almost like 30%. The geographic area has a concave relief, that is what I was telling about just now, and slopes towards northwest and reaches below sea level towards the west, where it joins the Vembanad Lake. So, there is an extent, the extent of the Vembanad Lake is only 80 square kilometers. Now, it has been reduced because of the conversion of Vembanad into much of the part of Vembanad into paddy cultivation, the paddy fields. So, it opened, the estuary is opening at Kochi. So, the water is going to flow, whatever water is coming through these 4 or 5 rivers are going to flow through the estuary at Cochin. Estimated that over 500 kilometer square area of paddy fields are there, and that is below sea level. Agriculture is the main source of living over here for sure of the people. Then farming is carried at 1.2 meters to 3 meters below sea level at the Kayal Padams, and other padams are also there. The garden land is very limited in Kuttanad. So, this is a typical side soil exploration which is made at one particular place. So, this is with regard to soil in Kuttanad, because we are discussing about the geographical peculiarities. As you can see there, you can see very loose kind of clay. In the top soil may be a little bit filled up soil, that may be having a little bit thickness, but when you go down, when you dig deep, you can see the depth you can see on the column, in the middle column in meters, and the soil layers are available on the column on the left. You can see that from the picture. So, you can observe overall that hard soil is not available above say 40 meters. If you dig deep by hard say 40 meters, you can see the clay becomes a little bit hard and it gives way to say sandy clay and kind of say other hard material. So, the hardness of the soil or the bearing capacity of soil is also governed by a test known as standard penetration test, and this is an experiment which is done based on the standard penetration test. When the number of blows of a hammer is above 50, then only you can say that the soil is sufficiently good for founding the structures. So, it is a civil engineering experiment. So, you can see that at the level of 40 meters or below, you are getting very good kind of say soil, and above that the soil is typically very loose. So, this is a typical explanation of the geography of Kuttanad, and it is the end of the first segment. Thank you.